Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Motorhead Garage is presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. No matter what kind of car you have, chances are the elements get to it whenever you're out on the road. You're talking heat, you're talking cold, rain, wind, and that means the rubber seals are usually the first to go. And Danny, you know, usually when we think of steel rubber, we're thinking of classic cars like this one. What kind of stuff do you have for the classic car folks out there?
So for classic car people, we have parts that are made specifically for their vehicle. If you've got a 65 Mustang, we've got parts for 65 Mustangs. This, for instance, is a trunk weather strip for a 66, 67 Lincoln Continental four-door convertible.
Huge car, by the way.
Right. The trunk weather strip, you know, it's got the convertible top in there. It's got a lot of really intricate pieces. This trunk weather strip is no different. You can see it's designed very purposefully for that, and it fits just like it did from the factory.
And it's super complicated. And you brought another one with you that's really complicated, but for not so much of a classic vehicle.
Not so much of a classic vehicle. This is for Astrovans, with the Dutch doors, the small doors on the bottom. And we have them for the cargo doors as well, but very intricate parts that are very specifically needed for that setup.
And there's still lots of folks using these as cargo vans, and they find that the seals are the first thing to go. And
absolutely. And those parts are being requested, so we're making them. Likewise, we have parts for S10 trucks. That's what these window felts are.
Which I call window fuzzies, and there's lots of names for them.
Belt lines, cat whiskers, yeah, anti-rattles. So we have parts that are made specifically for that. So it's got factory cut corners, it's got clips right where they should go. The same with these. These are made for a Ford Ranchero. So they have the clips right where they should go, just like the original parts.
These are so specific. So how do you manufacture parts, and how do you come up with the parts you need for vehicles like that?
Well, all the parts that we make for a car usually come from customer originals. Someone requesting, hey, can you make this? And sometimes we can. So that's what's happened with all of these. Similarly, we also work with a lot of people who may not have a car that had weather stripping on it to begin with, like this 29. It may not have had rubber on it. So we can still find a solution for them to fix any kind of seal issue.
So what'd you bring in that regard?
So for them, we have our universal line. Universal belt lines if they're working on their windows. We have universal door seals, trunk seals, any kind of bumper and grommet that, you know, may be specific for something, you can also find in that universal street rod section. And to help you find out what you need, we have our sample packs. It's great to have a little piece to test fit on there, as well as our catalogs.
I know that the rubber seals are kind of the last thing to go on a vehicle whenever you're restoring one or building one. How many folks treat it like an afterthought and really kind of do it the wrong way to begin with?
I think it is treated a little bit like an afterthought. You even see paint sprayed on weather stripping and not pulled off before they paint, but it really goes a long way for the looks of the car to have a nice piece of weather stripping. It protects it, it makes it look better, especially when you got vent windows and they're cracking and the belt line, the window felts are cracking. It doesn't look really good.
And when you've got something where the engine's not making as much noise as this one, you hear a lot of wind noise sometimes going down the road, and you guys can help prevent that too.
Yeah, wind noise is a big complaint, and even if it's trying to fix an issue and not a whole seal replacement, we do have items that can fill any kind of gap.
How specific do your catalogs get?
We do year, make, model, and even body style specific catalogs. So if you got a Chevy Astrovan, we can get you a catalog just for a 2000 Chevy Astrovan, or just for a 66 Continental four-door convertible. And it'll have the parts for that car, nothing else. You don't have to worry about if it fits your body style or not. We have the Universal, which is kind of our catch-all for all of our different profiles, bumpers, and grommets. And then we have our RV and Marine catalog, which shows all the products that are specific to those vehicle types. Big slide-outs on the RVs or some of the special windows on boats.
And you guys are really relied on by some pretty important people out there. I saw something new on your website, service vehicles.
Yeah, we're actually doing parts that are very specific to fire trucks and ambulances. You know, people who are on the front lines, and they need rubber parts as well, so we're making that for them.
Well, no matter what the vehicle, you can find rubber parts for it at steelrubber.com. Whether it's a restoration, a new build, or your vehicle's just getting tired, check them out. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radios since 1977. And by NH Oil Undercoating, the official oil-based rust prevention system.
Thanks for coming along for the ride here on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now, we've got some really cool looking vehicles here. This Jeep has all kinds of upgrades and accessories on it. The truck doesn't look so shabby either. Jimmy, they come to us from Hook Road. Now, what can Hook Road do to make my vehicle look great and perform better?
If you have any kind of off-road vehicle, we have all the accessories you need, from bumpers to steps to Jeep doors.
And the stuff all looks amazing. It fits really well. Where is it designed?
It's actually designed in-house. We have our own designers and fabricators in-house. My job is product engineer. I actually have a 3D scanner here that I 3D scan vehicles, and I'm able to get the vehicle design, send it to our engineers, and they'll actually produce what we're selling.
How do you come up with ideas for different parts and accessories? How do you decide that the need is there?
It's more of the industry. The industry is looking for certain components and parts. We try to manufacture what the consumer wants.
When you set out to design something, what's first and foremost on your mind?
It's form and function. You want it to be something that works correctly versus something that just bolt on and doesn't do anything.
The powder coating looks amazing, and those are all steel. Are there any other materials?
We do have some new products in development right now. We have a aluminum Overlander bed rack that's in production, should be in production in about 6 months. We do have also a new aluminum roof rack that is going to be in production in about 6 months. Both of them are equipped with T-slots so that you can take the Overlander high lift jack and mount it to the side of those racks.
You can tell by looking at the parts you guys know what you're doing. How long have you been in business?
Hook Road has been in business for over 9 years. The owner and his partner, they started out building a Jeep. When they could not find the parts that they wanted, they went ahead and said, you know what, we're gonna manufacture our own parts. And then that's where the business started out.
And what components do you have from Hook Road on this truck?
On this truck, I have the full width bumper on the front, have the Overland roof rack on the back, and then I do have the rear bumper.
And it all looks amazing, and it's nice little touches that really finish off this truck. But talk about over the top, this Jeep is fantastic. From the front to the back, the Jeep really is cool, and all kinds of accessories on it. Christina, this is your creation using Hook Road products. The easiest way is tell me what you got on the front, and we'll work our way to the back.
So starting from the front, we have the front bumper, and then we have the front grille. It's the shark teeth grille. And then we have the rear and front fender flares. And inside of that is the inner fender flares with the distressed U.S. flag. And then coming down this way, we've got the trail doors, the half doors. They do come with mirrors. And then going on back, we have the rear bumper that is a tire holder. And then there's a couple different things. I have a bottle cap opener that you just kind of mount onto the side and pop right open.
Essential for tailgating.
Yes, it is. And then right down here, we've got the rocker guides and running boards.
Which is also essential for off-roading.
Yes.
And people don't think about that when they're hitting the trails. You're going over stumps and rocks and things like that. You're going to be glad you have those. Mm-hmm. And they look really rugged as well.
They do. They work very well.
And if you're taking folks with you, you're going to need grab handles, and those are stellar. I really dig those.
Yes, sir. These are actually the front and rear grab handles. Got the whole back side is all aluminum, and then the front as well.
How important was it for you to keep to a theme when you were upgrading your Jeep?
For Jeepers, it's pretty important. It's a common thing to have a name and a theme, and luckily Hook Road's got some shark grills and some really cool things that can add on to it and get some color to it.
You've got some stuff that's not just for looks, but also for utilitarianism. I noticed the light that you have on the back there. Tell me about that.
So we have a light on the back that is for the rear cargo. You can open the back, and it has a hazards light and just a regular light. So if you ever need to work on the Jeep in the dark, there's that. And then we also have a prototype light that goes onto the flagpole holder that's also back there. Just so you can use it in any way you need to.
That's a floodlight for when you're hanging out with friends, and a work light if you need it as well. Yes, I get really squeamish when it comes to accessories like this. I'm worried about having to take it to a dealer to have it installed. I'm worried about drilling holes in my own vehicle. How difficult were these to install?
It's actually very simple. I was able to do it with just one other person, and depending on the product, it takes maybe an hour or two depending on what you're doing. But they're very simple to put in. It's just quick little guides in, a couple bolts here and there, but they're right in the bolts where the company makes them.
I know Hook Road has a huge catalog, all kinds of Jeeps, a bunch of different trucks as well. Where can we buy your products?
You can find us on Amazon, eBay, and hookroad.com.
And I understand there's a special promotion for Motorhead Garage viewers?
Yes, sir. It is HR Sith Trooper.
Well, run straight to the interwebs and find them at Hook Road, see what they can do for your Jeep. We're going to be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings in just a few.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, coming to you from Borla Commerce Park.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, and this is a Honda Talon. It is one of the coolest looking UTVs out there, and I got to tell you, it's made even better looking thanks to the folks at JEI Off-Road. Ian, you're the creator of some of the accessories on this vehicle. What do you guys do at JEI?
Primarily we focus on bumpers, tree kickers, spare tire mounts, stuff like that, bed extenders, basically anything to help protect the machine.
A lot of the essentials, because I know
That's right.
when you buy one of these stock, people don't really take it into account, you know, you're going to be running over trees and rocks and things. So how important is something like a tree kicker?
If you want to save your doors, I would say they're pretty important.
Sounds pretty important to me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times on trails, you get in tight spots. You can't hang your head out, look out, make sure you're not hitting your door. Tree kickers are a good way to protect the side of the machine.
And bumpers are a great way to protect the front and the rear. Again, how important is something like a reinforced bumper compared to what comes stock?
Some of them don't even come with one stock. The ones that do typically are out of a very thin material to be lightweight. We build ours, I would say, at least double the wall thickness, all DOM tubing. Yeah, considerably more protection with our products versus OEM product.
And let's talk about the way you've built them now. What the material is the same all the way across with what you use, the tubing?
Primarily, yes. DOM tubing is our main tubing that we use.
And where is it all designed, and what's that process?
Everything is designed in-house and built, powder-coated, start to finish, in-house there in Southern Indiana.
The materials you're getting, everything is bought in the United States as well.
That's correct.
What was the genesis for all these creations? How did you come up with the ideas for these?
Using the machine, you know, and just seeing that there's a need for better products out there. The bed extender in particular was something that we noticed on the Pioneer 5-seater. The seats pop out of the bed and you lose all your bed space. So we made a bed extender that actually extends past the tailgate. Their OEM makes one that stops on the tailgate. Ours extends about 7.5, 8 inches further, so you can carry a larger cooler or tool bag or dry box, whatever you need.
And looking at that Pioneer, that makes all the difference in the world. That really.
Oh, it does. It does. That's correct.
And how much are you able to carry? You put the seats down. That really makes it a real utility vehicle.
When you put the seats down, you can carry just about anything you want. Refrigerator, maybe.
Nice. Sounds like a good time to me.
That's right. That's right.
Excellent. And it's something that really jumps out on this Talon, the spare tire rack that you have back there. Tell me about that spare tire carrier.
I guess one of the cooler things about it is it's got gas struts on it and quick release pins. So you pull the pins out, the struts actually lift the tire carrier up and out of the way so you can access your cooler, storage box, whatever. It's also got some Rotopax fuel cans that bolt up to the bottom, so you can carry extra fuel if you need to.
Extremely useful and can help you out if you're in big trouble. You're going to need that spare tire sometime too, so that's very handy to have there. I noticed you thought of everything. I was looking at the Heim joints and I noticed one was shorter than the other. What's that about?
Right, so the reason behind that is, you know, we'll go to the passenger side of the machine, for example, and have it set. We'll go to the other side and we'll actually shorten that one. So we have one of them pushing and one of them pulling to basically prevent any rattling.
Gotcha.
You know, if these machines are being used the way they're intended, there's a lot of bouncing around and a lot of rattling, so we don't want to add to that.
There's a lot of rattling to begin with a lot of the doors.
That's right, that's right.
And then you also have pins all the way around to make that a quick release in case you need to put something bigger in the back there, is that?
That's correct, or if you just need to get into the bed. You know, there are 3/8 quick release pins. You know, you can pull short of taking the tire off, you know, you can pull the whole rack out in about 35 seconds.
And if I want to bolt that permanently, that's something I can do?
That's correct, yeah, you can just replace it with some 3/8 bolts.
I know a lot of accessories can be difficult to install, but I looked at your website and your stuff's not that way at all. It's super simple. Pretty
simple to install. Polaris and all the other machines typically have good solid mounting points. We just go off factory holes. So yeah, there's very little modification required. In fact, everything featured on this machine today, the only thing that needs modification at all is the lower valance for these kickers. Just to gain access to the frame, you just need to make a small notch out, slides right on.
Piece of cake.
That's right. All the parts that you purchase from us come with all the hardware is included, whether zinc coated or stainless steel hardware, and as well as installation instructions.
Great. And Honda is your featured vehicle. What else do you offer at JEI?
We offer a variety of parts through all the makes and models, from Polaris, Kawasaki. We've dabbled into several different ones. So if you go to the website, check it out, don't see something, hit us up, and we'll keep you posted as far as progress.
Well, if you want to protect your side-by-side and make it look great, check them out at jeioffroad.com. There is a special promo code for Motorhead Garage viewers. It's MH Garage. So go to their website and type in MH Garage for a special deal. We shall return here on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings.
Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by Axiom Side-by-Side. Side-by-side parts and accessories made in USA. Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. And by AeroWorks Performance, 3D printing, 3D scanning, and carbon fiber composites.
This is Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. Now, you go and you grab a UTV from the dealership, you take it home. A lot of folks immediately, one of the things they want to do is put a bigger tire on it. And that makes sense because you're going to want bigger grip going over lots of obstacles, and you're going to want a wider stance. But that creates a problem. And Jeremy from Reduction Boss can tell us all about that. Jeremy, what kind of problems does that create when you just add a bigger tire to the vehicle?
Well, basically just adding a bigger tire overgears the machine. So then the machine's going to struggle. You're kind of robbing power from the engine. Almost like a simple way of describing it is, with a manual transmission in a vehicle, you're, instead of starting off in first gear, you're essentially like starting off in second or third gear.
That makes a lot of sense. So what can be done then to compensate for that? And it sounds like you have a solution.
Oh yeah, we've got two different main styles of reductions that go in the engine. We've got a primary style reduction, and we've got what we call a secondary, which is the final transmission gears of the engine.
All right, you sent two things along. This is the primary reduction set. This is what we're looking at for stock. So here is the basket for the clutch, and you can see we have a larger gear here. And then if we look at the reduction, this is a little smaller gear there, and that makes a big difference, 60%?
Yeah, we cut our own gear so we can make pretty much any size we want. When we went to a standard size is like in 20% increments.
Gotcha. So the options are different based on what you're going to use it for.
Yeah, it's tire size and the aggressiveness of the tire. There's a lot of things that come into play with it.
In the past, you said you'd basically salvaged gears and sold those gear sets, and that's really how you got started. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's more or less a custom-made type thing when you're using what I call donor gears. There's some other people that still make them that way. It just kind of hinders you on how fast you can make the reduction. So we kind of started growing real fast, and we had to cut the gears from scratch to keep up with the demand. But that, like I said, that opens up a lot of windows for us because we can cut pretty much any size we want to. We're not really limited on sizes or anything like that. So it gives us more control over, with making the gears like we do.
It was a natural progression from sort of random set of gears that's going to reduce it to a defined amount.
Correct, yeah. When gears are manufactured, they're what I call a match set. So, making it the old way, you're never going to find two gears that are really meant to work together. It's just kind of getting lucky, but you may have a little too much play in the mesh and things like that. You run into different issues doing it that way.
So you really found a niche. What kind of folks are using your gear reduction set?
A lot of it's for the mud guys that like to play in the mud. They want to run the bigger tires, more aggressive tires. We've got some guys that do it like out in the West that do the rock crawling and things like that. Just more or less more technical riding. And then we have people that just, use their machines to work with, and they just want lower gear and for pulling stuff, that, they're using their machines for work. So they want a lower gearing than what the stock gearing is to be able to pull things easier.
What if I'm not so technically proficient? I realize that once I put these bigger tires on, the get up and go is got up and went. So I'm not able to get going. What do I need to come to you with? What kind of specs do I need to tell you what I'm using it for and that sort of thing?
Yeah, pretty much just the tire size you're wanting to run. And, like on the ATVs, it depends on if you've got we've got guys that's got their girlfriends that ride with them or vice versa. So the weight comes into play, the actual weight on the machine, the capacity, all that comes into play. The tire size, the weight on the machine, if you're going to ride solo or somebody's riding with you. The main thing is the size, of course, the size and the weight of the tire.
And once you've hooked me up with the gear set that I need, how easy is that for me to put in myself? Do I need to take it to a mechanic?
If somebody that's got decent mechanical know-how, that can take something apart, put it back together without any extra leftover parts, that's the main thing to it. We offer tools to help with the install. Like on the primary, there's a clutch puller that's needed on most of the machines. That's really the only special tool needed. The rest of it can be done with hand tools or air tools, things like that.
Everything you sent us looks solid as a rock. Do you design it yourself?
Yeah.
And what's it made of and where do you make it?
We're in Mount Olive, North Carolina, and we're just using a high carbon steel that's got a special heat treatment done to it.
How durable are your gears compared to the OEM gears?
Pretty much the same. They're just as durable as the OEM stuff.
They're built to last, but what if I do have an issue with them?
If you have any kind of issues with the reduction, we offer a lifetime warranty to the original purchaser. Anything goes wrong with it, we replace it.
And Jeremy, Reduction Boss is working strictly with Hondas right now?
Yes, sir. We just do the Hondas right now.
Very good. Well, if you have a UTV or an ATV made by Honda, you can get more of that power to the ground. Check them out at reductionboss.com or on Facebook. And speaking of Facebook, we've got a Facebook page, so check us out at Motorhead Garage. And if you have a product you want to see on our show, email Jeff at masterstv.com. We will see you next week right here on Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings.